brother Jesuit who might be engaged on the other side. You have been taught your duty as a spy to gather all statistics, facts, and information in your power from every source, to integrate yourself into the confidence of the family circle of Protestants and heretics of every class and character, as well as that of the merchant, the banker, the lawyer, among the schools and universities, in parliaments and legislatures, and the judiciaries and councils of state, and to be all things to all men. It seems like a peculiar world that the Jesuits inhabit. On the one hand, they fraternize with Freemasons, royalty, and presidents, and on the other, taking an oath which puts them at odds with just about everybody who is not Catholic. It is into this world that Weishaupt was brought up. By 1775, Weishaupt was professor of canon law at Ingolstadt. And it was this year he, or somebody else, chose for Weishaupt to form a plan of an association which he would head. This association would oppose the forces of superstition and lies, or in other words, religion. The thoughts of many commentators is that Weishaupt so hated the Jesuits that he thoroughly intended to do away with them once and for all. Others believe that Weishaupt was in fact trained by the Jesuits for the purpose of raising a worldwide army of spies who would constantly be feeding back information. The information that the Jesuits could not get any more through their confessions. In fact, the Illuminati even set up their own confessions in line with that of the Jesuits. All of this surveillance and confession was fed back to the Jesuits from the very people who were supposed to be against them. How better to find out what was in the mind of the opposition than to be the opposition? This is a standard double ploy utilized for centuries by the secret services of all religions and states. They even fed the anti-Semitic rhetoric which suited the Catholic Church down to the ground. Through associations with the Freemasons, the Jesuits managed to get information from and influence to the Freemasons of the globe. Just how much influence the Illuminati finally had or have is unknown. That is the idea of secrecy. But what can be seen is that following Weishaupt's amazing creation, out of the order of a much older institution, we suddenly have several worldwide revolutions and the balance of power shifting like never before. However, even though Weishaupt and his close friend Zwack were banished and never seen again, there can be nothing read into this. It could be that they were simply rewarded with a long holiday out of the way, or were, as some believe, sent to Saxe-Coburg and the Netherlands to start the whole thing again. There are older links for the Illuminati, though, that stretch back into the realm of the Shining Ones in Afghanistan. This link is with the Roshaniah, or Illuminated, Enlightened Ones. And reference to them comes from the House of Wisdom in Cairo, a veritable fount of esoteric knowledge predating the Roshaniah by hundreds of years. Again, initiation and ritual match up between the Roshaniah and others such as the Muslim assassins, who we know influenced the Templars and hence Christianity. The earliest leader we know of is Bayezid Ansari, who claimed descent from the helpers of Mohammed. Who exactly these helpers were, nobody knows. Suffice to say, their existence in helping Mohammed escape Mecca pinpoints them in space and time, if nothing else. It is claimed that Bayezid was indoctrinated by the Ismailis, themselves close to the assassins and having hidden lodges around the world. These Ismailis came about to protect a great secret of Islam after the Crusades, in much the same manner as the Cathars protected some strange secret knowledge. It seems that the Ismailis recruited well, as the Illuminated Ones grew fast. Bayezid taught a series of supernatural exercises, which were believed to lead to enlightenment and the Great Secret. An obvious allusion to the fact that the Great Secret is enlightenment. To obtain this illuminative aspect of the secret, they had to undergo the usual meditation and fasting called the Kilwat, silence. Using merchants and soldiers, Bayezid eventually spread his message across the world by word of mouth, and those Gnostics and mystics who heard the message already understood the secret of illumination. Eventually, Bayezid, who was now known as the Sage of Illumination, founded a great city at Hashtingar with the message of human fulfillment emanating from its sender. It was understood that utilization of the human mind in the enlightened aspect could bring about wonders. Eventually, Bayezid died, and his sons and successors were not really up to the job. However, only 40 years after the last leader of the Illuminated Ones died, worship started his Illuminati. As Archon Dural says in Secret Societies, coincidences of date and beliefs connect these Bavarian Illuminati with the Afghan ones, and also with other cults which called themselves Illuminated. The beginning of the 17th century saw the foundation of the Illuminated Ones of Spain, the Alumbrados, condemned in an edict of the Grand Inquisition in 1623. In 1654, the illuminated Guéronets came into public notice in France. Documents still extant show several points of resemblance between the German and Central Asian Illuminists, points which are hard to account for on the grounds of pure coincidence. The Roshaniah has some telling symbols and rituals. The priests were identified with a secret sign where they crossed over both hands flat on the forehead, the place of the third eye and illumination. The colors of the Roshaniah and the Ismailis were red and white. These colors are widespread amongst the secret orders, such as the Knights Templar, who also had a red cross on their white clothes, the red and white being symbolically important for the Enlightenment process. Red and white were also incredibly important in the Far East, where we find more illuminated ones, known popularly as the Triad. Unfortunately, finding the origins of most Chinese secret societies is nearly impossible, as they are so couched in myth and mystery. One thing is sure, that secret societies have changed the course of China. The Boxer Rebellion of 1900 was led by a secret society. These Boxers, or Fist for Protection Society, were initiated in much the same way as any other across the world. Placed in darkness, alternating light, they were made to fast and meditate, opening up their minds to cleansing. This Boxer society came from an older group known as the Big Swords, and this was another name used by the Triads. In the 12th century, at the time of the Crusades, there were gatherings of men who took oaths to regard the stars as our brothers and heaven and earth as our father and mother. These same men then drank each other's blood mixed with wine. By the 14th century, the White Lotus Society was formed, and eventually China is scattered with secret societies. However, most of these organizations can be linked together and form the triad we know of today. This group of societies were believed to have been formed for a popularized royalist myth to bring back the Ming Dynasty. However, hundreds of years and even the attainment of power have not resolved this supposed goal. But the reason for this non-attainment is simple. Ming actually means light, and is the real element these secret societies wish to see restored. It is the light of the Shining Ones, spreading back hundreds if not thousands of years, even in the heart of Red China, that these secret societies still strive for. We know that this is the case because once the Lotus Society had installed the Ming Dynasty to the throne in the 14th century, it was only by the 17th century that they were deposed again by the same society. The Society of Jesus was founded in 1540 by St. Ignatius Loyola, and since then has grown from the original 7 to nearly 30,000 members who work out of nearly 2,000 houses in over 100 countries. According to J. Parnell McCarter, in his Puritan News Service, Ignatius was himself a Gnostic Illuminist, a member of the Alumbrados of Spain, his home. Bringing full circle the Jesuits being created by an Illuminati and then going on to create an Illuminati. All of this was occurring at the same time as the rise in Freemasonic thought. What is known about Ignatius is that he was a Spanish Basque soldier who then supposedly underwent an extraordinary conversion while recuperating from a broken leg. His experiences were written down, and he called them spiritual exercises, going on later to found the Society of Jesus, or Jesuits, with the approval of Pope Paul III in 1540. Strangely, upon the printing of his spiritual exercises in 1548, he was brought before the Inquisition, but was later released. According to the Catholic Church, the Jesuits have become renowned for their sanctity, which basically means that they have many members canonized or blessed. They have been involved in many scientific discoveries and in the exploration of the New World. They are governed by general congregations. From the start, the Pope was overwhelmed with the Jesuit service, becoming his secret police, collector of information, and generally bully boys, much akin to the history of the Alumbrados. On the face of it, the Jesuits were opening schools, making amazing discoveries, and sending missionaries out across the world. In fact, it is claimed by the Catholic Church that no order has ever had so many martyrs. The skill of Ignatius Loyola was in gathering around him of an energetic band of well-educated and determined men. Ignatius had the concept of supplying the church with missionaries such as Francis Xavier, who would preach and administer the sacraments whilst growing the church's membership and gathering huge amounts of information and money. Ignatius soon discovered that colleges and universities offered the greatest service to the church, for by and through religious instruction, the Jesuits could manipulate the thinkers as well as the masses manipulated in church on a Sunday. This is something they later passed on to Weishaupt and his Illuminati, as he wrote, "I propose academics under the direction of the order. This will secure us the adherence of the literati. Science shall here be the lore." These Jesuit schools on learning sprang up everywhere and became an influential part of Catholic reform called a rebirth of the infant church. So influential were the Jesuits that they threatened the royalty and they were asked to leave several countries. To see how influential the Jesuits have been, we need to look at what the Catholic Church claim on their behalf. By 1750, 30 of the world's 130 astronomical observatories were run by Jesuit astronomers, and indeed 35 lunar craters have been named to honor Jesuit scientists. The Gregorian calendar, instigated by Jesuit Christopher Clavius, sometimes called the most influential teacher of the Renaissance. According to the Catholics, until recent times, no foreign name was as well known in China as the Jesuit Matteo Ricci. 5 of the major rivers of the world were first charted by Jesuit explorers. 2 of the statues in Washington are Jesuits.